Kherson is a city of historic and strategic significance, and it's recently found itself on the front line at the epicenter of intense conflict as part of Russia's broader military campaign in Ukraine. To fully understand the importance of Kherson in this context, it's crucial to delve into its historic roots, its geographical position, and the current geopolitical landscape shaped by Vladimir Putin's aggressive war of invasion. It was founded in 1778 by order of Catherine the Great. It served as a critical naval base for the Russian Empire, and its establishment marked the expansion of Russian influence into the Black Sea region, a strategic goal aimed at securing access to warm water ports and extending territorial reach. It's named after the ancient Greek colony of Chersonesus, and it was initially intended to support the burgeoning Russian fleet, acting as a gateway for trade and military operations into the Black Sea. So, of course, this is this is what I was speaking today with Caolan Riobinson live, and I'm going to post some of that conversation into this video here, so you can see that he is now in Kherson. I'm simply staggered by his bravery, uh, and and he is now doing exactly what those early reporters were doing in the Crimean War in 1853, 1854, 1855, and they were taking photographs, the first photographs live from a war scene, sending reports back by telegraph to London. Absolutely cutting edge technology, and here is a British journalist doing the same sort of thing today. Now, Caolan, I've got you here. You're in. Click when live for stream info. Oh,
Let's have a
oh.
look.
So at the moment, nobody is watching, um, but it is
Maybe
streaming.
change the title to, let me see,
I
with
think I
Caolan and her
think
son.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure where the title bit has gone to now.
I
I've
think it's
lost
just
that
going to
bit.
people
Oh no, we've got at
work
least
quite
one
well. I
person
can
there.
see it.
There we are. Let's leave it like this. I think I think so. Look, I've got Caolan Riobinson here from Kherson.
Oh,
Are we allowed to say this? You were literally at the front. Oh no, you're from Kharkiv. Kharkiv, sorry.
no, sorry, it's just cut out there for ages. I'm a 5-minute walk to the river. I'm in the middle of Kherson. I'm in the center of
You're
Kherson right
in
now.
Kherson, right? But you've been there before, haven't you?
I've never stayed here, but I've been here for the Eastern Front, the documentary I made with John Sweeney last year. But I couldn't bring myself to stay here for longer than a few hours because the city was being hit 24/7 constantly, and it's gotten significantly worse. But I'm now here for a few nights. I'm so close to the Russians that I tried to pay for some water when I arrived, and my phone blocked the transaction because it thought it was in Russia. And I had to call my bank and tell them I wasn't in Russia, and they geolocated me to Russia because I am less than a mile from the Russians. So they
I
wouldn't let
I
me buy the water.
I'm panicking for you, um, Colin, but that's so you don't have to do it. But it's
Yes, you can do
it
that for
is
me.
it is terrifying, and I think I think you're remarkable. But tell me, what is it like now?
Well,
In
I'm here to
tell me,
do
go on.
daily reports for my channel and write articles for Byline Times about this. So there's a lot of stuff to be done. It's like unlike anything I've ever seen in Ukraine. The city has been eroded in the purest form of that term. When I was here last year, this is a city where the Russians occupied for 8 months. The Ukrainians pushed them back south of the river. Imagine this city is like London, where the river divides the River Thames. The Ukrainians managed to push the Russians back from Mykolaiv through this city, and as the Russians were running, they blew all the bridges, and the bridges are all destroyed here, and they set up camp at the other side of the river, which is just a 5 minute walk from here to the riverbank, and they started pounding the city every single day. The city had a population of 250,000 people. When I was last year, it was 60,000. I don't expect it's more than 10 now. And slowly they have eroded everything in the city. There's nothing left here. There's a couple of supermarkets. There's nowhere to buy anything. The Today I went to the Kherson Cultural Arts Center, which is a beautiful place where young children for the last 20 years have learned how to perform plays and music and dance. And
Hmm.
the Russians put a guide bomb into it and blew it up, and there was pianos blown out windows, landing in the street with fire surrounding them. I filmed all of that. Um, and as I was leaving the cultural center, which was completely destroyed, there was just a stage in the middle of an auditorium with sunlight illuminating it because it's the hole in the roof. Two drones started chasing us and chasing our car. So our driver had to go at about 100 miles an hour through the city, zigzagging between the lanes of the street. There's no other cars here. Basically, there's no one driving in the city because they're indiscriminately killing people with drones. So we had to like race away from the drone. Um, it's like Mad Max here. It's
Well, well,
indescribable.
where
Now,
where did where did the drones land?
so the drones here, they're flown from the Russian side. They're small homemade drones or the DJI Mavic drones, and they
Right.
have a release mechanism in them and they drop grenades. They drop them on civilians, police officers, journalists. So I've got my journalist stuff here, but I couldn't wear it because it will make me more of a target. So I actually had to make this decision of, despite having all the armor, I actually can't wear it. So I walk around like in a t-shirt, um, which is really weird, and it's meant to be the opposite of what you do when you're in a war zone. So um, because
Well,
it makes
because
you more of a
because
target, and
journalists are being targeted by the
yeah, so
Russians.
I haven't worn it. I mean, I brought it with me because the press officer in Ukraine and the military kind of demand and expect you to wear it as a journalist here as part of your accreditation. So I kind of should, and I do sometimes, but if you're somewhere like where I was earlier, which is basically overlooking the river, we could see the Russian positions. Then I would take that shit off immediately because it reveals, it makes you an instant target. So. Oh, this is wild. I never thought I would really stay in Kherson. It's been extremely noisy. Where I am now, all of the windows, well, there's one window left, it's taped up. But all the other windows in this side of the building, it's all cardboard now, and um, it's all boarded up. There's holes in the wall in this room from shrapnel that's flown through here. The whole city is destroyed. It's been eroded beyond comprehension, and there's nobody left here, really. I mean, I imagine there's military left. But it is what the Russians do is they slowly wear down and erode and destroy everything. I was walking through the city a couple of hours ago before curfew kicked in. Curfew's now it's at 8 p.m. here, which is annoying, 12
Hmm.
hours a day. And it was high rises all around us, and there wasn't a single light. It was pitch black. I was tripping over curbs, in the town square because the Russians are nearby, and where the Russians are nearby, there's only darkness that follows. So this place is crazy. This is the craziest place I think I've ever been. This is more dramatic than the last time I was here. Um, and it's constant. Like the building was shaking earlier when I checked in. Like the building shaking, and they don't do air raid sirens anymore. There's no point because they would never turn them off. It's every 30 seconds there's an explosion or a drone. So there's no air alert system. They got rid of it. It would become
Are there
pointless.
are there any shelters?
There are some bomb shelters near the bus stops. Um, because the Russians like to target people waiting for buses because they like to kill any groups of people standing outside in public. Um,
Yeah.
There's probably a bomb shelter in this building. I don't know, but again, this is an old Soviet building. It's pretty run down. This is a kind of fucked up old part of the of Kherson. But yeah, this building has been hit probably 50 times in the last few months. This building has shown is half destroyed, but it's you can't stay in hotel. There's one hotel in the city left, and that hotel is not advisable to stay in, and it's been hit constantly. So the only way you can really live in Kherson is through fixers that can give you apartments that make it seem like you're just an old resident. But this is a tall building. I'm not going to say what floor I'm on, but
Please don't.
this build. No, I won't. This is in Odessa. This building is empty. There's no one here, and it's a tall building. There's no one in this building.
Uh, there's a
So
the Russians have advanced into a place called Grigorovka today,
Grigorovka.
and yeah, it's fairly insignificant, which is what the people in Ukraine have said. Um, but I believe,
Where is this? Is this in the east?
yeah, I think it is, yes.
Here.
There's and there's a high rise flat bombed, three killed. Is that in
Well, the
Kharkiv?
Russians have been destroying everything. I mean, they hit Kharkiv like there was no tomorrow. In the last few days, they destroyed massive amounts of infrastructure and buildings in civilian areas there. We saw this. It looked like Dnipro. Zaporizhia is
Hmm.
being hit like there's no tomorrow. The Russians
Well,
are
that's that
furious that the West have,
that's worrying.
yeah, the Russians are furious that the West have taken out their ammunition storages. That's where their flashy
Yeah.
new North Korean missiles were stored. So they're trying to retaliate, and the only way they know to retaliate now quickly is to throw the last remaining stuff that they have into Ukraine. So it's very dramatic at the moment. It's really scary at the moment, actually. Odessa hasn't been very scary because Odessa gets hit by strategic missiles once a day, and it's usually the port. So you know what's coming and going. Here, it's out of control. Here, um, what I've been told is, and what I've started to do is wait for the wind to start before I leave my house. You know, in Britain, we wait for the rain to stop and we wait for the wind to stop before we leave our house to go to the shops. Here, we wait for the wind to start because then the drones can't fly properly because it's windy, and that's when you leave the house to go and get your shopping. And the only way that you can walk down the street in Kherson right now, as I've just realized, is because the streets here are full of trees and they're all tree lined, and those trees are full of leaves, and it would entangle drones. The leaves are actively falling off those trees now as winter starts, and when the leaves fall off the trees, then everyone will be at risk. There's no cover. So the leaves are falling, which is scary, and the wind. It's just crazy. Like we were in a cafe. There's two cafes left, and we were waiting for the wind to pick up before we left. I've never experienced that in Kherson before or anywhere before in Ukraine. You're like relying on the oldest forms of nature to keep you safe, the tree leaves and the wind. Um, it's just completely bizarre. This is the most bizarre place I've been, you know?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I've not been in a war zone. You're the fellow who's brave enough to do this, and I'm sort of horrified, Caolan, but at the same time impressed. And I think you're
Well,
doing
it's
a very
important to
important
document
thing.
this.
Yeah, yeah, very, very, very important. And at the same time, you're doing this at a time when uh, Zelensky is in the UN, has pointed out that the
Breaking
absurdity
up.
of talking to
Damn, I can't
Putin.
hear you.
Ah, can you hear me now?
What's happened here?
Can you hear me now? Caolan, have I lost you? Um, have I lost you? Oh God. This location on the Dnieper River near its mouth at the Black Sea. It makes it a strategic asset for any power seeking control over southern Ukraine and the access to the sea. Its proximity to the Crimean Peninsula, annexed by Russia in 2014, further underscores its significance in the ongoing conflict. And control of Kherson offers a vital supply route and serves as a staging ground for potential offensives deeper into Ukraine, as well as a defensive bulwark for Russia to secure its own annexed territories. The assault on Kherson in early 2022 marked a significant escalation in Russia's military campaign, and after months of troop build-up, diplomatic tension, Russian forces launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and Kherson became one of the first major cities to fall under Russian control, largely due to its strategic value and the rapid advance of Russian troops from Crimea. And the operation to occupy Kherson was not just a tactical victory, but a symbolic one as well. It demonstrated the brilliance of that first Russian move to control southern Ukraine and the effectiveness of the Crimean staging ground. And from the Kremlin point of view, Kherson represented a gateway to broader ambitions in the region, including the establishment of a land corridor to Crimea and control over the Dnieper River's water flow. But the occupation hasn't gone unchallenged, and Kherson has been a focal point of Ukrainian resistance, both militarily and through civil disobedience. The Ukrainian military, bolstered by Western support, has launched a counter-offensive aimed at retaking the city, recognizing its strategic value. And the civilian population has engaged in protests, acts of defiance, underscoring the city's role not just as a military asset, but as a symbol of Ukrainian sovereignty and resistance. The battle for Kherson has broader implications for the region and beyond. Its outcome could significantly influence the course of the war and the geopolitical balance in Eastern Europe. For Putin, holding on to Kherson or retaking Kherson now is critical to maintaining control over southern Ukraine, and therefore denying him that opportunity also denies him the opportunity to secure the Crimean Peninsula. So let's have a look at the two sections of the conversation with Caolan today. Have I got this? We're live again. I don't know whether we've got anybody watching us.
Look.
So we have with the loss of power, but this is the
I think
problem.
it picks up over time.
Yeah. This is the problem of broadcasting in the middle of a war zone, Caolan.
Well, yeah,
I wish you'd find
there's a lot of
I wish you'd find another place to broadcast from. It would be so much easier.
there's a lot of electronic warfare going on here.
We
You
could-
see, so it
we
kind of
could
goes up and down.
we could ask Carol Vorderman to do it for us.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got I've got a what do you call it, a meeting with a panel discussion about reality TV with Rylan, and I think the most exciting thing that Rylan can think of is standing in the middle of a group of people with no clothes on, and I think you rather outstrip that, Caolan. You are in the real world, and it's terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean, it puts things into perspective, doesn't it? And it's really important.
strange.
Are you okay?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I'm surprised that people don't know what's going on here. Like I told my friends about it. I told people in journalism about it today, and they were horrified. They were like, "Oh, it's like Mad Max." Like, what do you mean? They're actually just using drones to hit civilians? I was like, yeah, like they did it 25 times since this morning today. They destroyed like 15 cars and killed this many people every day. It is out of control. This is warfare we haven't seen before. We're talking about about Gaza and Israel, and we're saying, about these pagers, but that's a whole different thing. But this is indiscriminate killing of civilians with drones, regardless of who they are,
Yeah.
constantly. So,
And there's
um,
and it's very clear who's doing it. This is the Russians doing it. There's no point in trying to ghost this or what is it, gaslight. This is it's very clearly coming from one source. This is a vicious form of warfare.
yeah, the Ukrainians aren't, in dugouts with drones targeting civilians at the other side of the river here. It is exclusively the Russians doing that. The Ukrainians are trying to take out their positions. And that's also quite strange to hear as well, is there's a lot of extremely loud bangs that shake the windows that are happening here tonight. And it's hard to figure out whether that's incoming or outgoing, whether that's this side shooting there or that side shooting back. But I hope there's a lot of counter striking going on, because it's like just this city is just being eroded every day, eroded into nothing. This is what Russia does: is it erodes, and it abrasively erodes and erodes and erodes until there's nothing left. It's slow war. This has been a slow war with Kherson since the city was liberated, in 2022 at Christmas, or at the beginning of 2023 when the Russians were pushed across the bridge. They
Mm.
celebrated liberation. And there's videos of the people in Kherson with flags and celebrating, and
Returning.
you know
Mm.
returning. And that day the Russian army set up their positions and started hammering the city indiscriminately, because they're pissed off that they can't have it, that they were chased out of it, and they want it gone. They laugh, I imagine, every time they shoot something into the city, and it is completely indiscriminate. In Odessa feels like the safest place in the world compared to here. I can't wait to go back. It doesn't feel like it's at war even compared to what's going on here. Like, the threshold is so different. But at least there, it's more so military targets because it's harder to hit. Here, you could count battery fire, basic Soviet era artillery can hit the buildings here, because the Russians are there. They are 5 minutes. If I walk for 5 minutes from where I am now, probably giving away too much, to the river, I would see them. I would be sniped. I would be under sniper fire from them. Like, they are close. And that's why the city is plunged into darkness every night. That's why it's being eroded so much, because it's so close to the Russians, and this is what they do to places in Ukraine. So, and they also haven't destroyed Odessa because they think of it as a Russian city. Putin wants to take Odessa one day. He sees it as Russian when it's not. It's Odessa has existed longer than Russia has existed. Um,
Mm.
and so he doesn't want to annihilate it, but he wants to annihilate her son, which is what he's doing. And there's no glass left in this building. Um, there's a piece of glass separating my bathroom with my bedroom here I'm looking at, and it's covered in plastic, because if there's a massive strike here, that will blow through. But all the windows in this apartment are blown out, and there isn't any glass left in this city because because they've just plummeted it. Um,
What's the
so
temperature like?
Here it's 30 degrees Celsius and very humid. There's a microclimate on the Black Sea that keeps things very hot. It's actually hotter than Odessa somehow. It's really warm, which is eerie.
Yes.
This is another. So I get the air raid siren alerts, and they come through every 20 minutes here, and they don't bother turning them on anymore. So there's sirens everywhere. They don't actually turn them on in Kherson anymore. I was walking through the city and I could hear explosions, thinking, "Where's the air raid system?" And Serena said, "Well, they turned it off because there was no point. They literally they would alert it every 15 minutes, and the people here were like, well, what's the point? Because they shoot things constantly into the city, so there's no more air sirens. I just got an alert on my phone there, because they send you a text message saying, by the way, there's another thing coming in here, but they're hitting it so much, there's no point in even turning on
And the other
the
thing
alarms
coming
anymore."
in is missiles or just drones.
So the alert that's just come through there a few minutes ago was probably something more serious, which likely was like a guide bomb. I don't know what exactly the terminology are for these things, but something more significant. Um, that's taken off either from the Black Sea or from the Russian positions. The art theater that I visited today was obliterated by something huge. I can't remember what the terminal is. It like a CATM or something like that? There's a name for it. It's a huge bomb that they don't normally
Yeah.
use, aerial bomb. They don't normally use in Kherson because they don't need to because they can rely on cheap short range systems. But they took out the entire building, um, which was weird. I think the soldier was very confused with me because I had gone into this art center. I literally got off the bus, went into this art center because the person that was going to be driving me to my apartment stopped me there, and he was like, um, "We're in a really dangerous place, Caolan. You can see the other side of the river, so let's be quick in and out." Because I really wanted to see the devastation that the Russians had done to this place, and there was a piano surrounded by fire, and I started pressing some of the keys, and you could hear the music echoing through the room. It's very weird, and glass everywhere, stuff everywhere. And then when I tried to leave the building, that's when the drone started chasing us between the building and the car. So I heard my friend start screaming and shouting. So I decided to run back into the building. And then there's a soldier in there with a gun just watching this crazy British journalist without anything on, running through the building with glass everywhere.
Oh my
So
goodness.
sorry. I don't think I was supposed to be in there, but it's just weird, a very weird day. I mean, really, God. I'll release all the footage of this. It was all filmed, but he must have thought the British are insane. I think I'm the only British journalist in Kherson. Yeah, actually, I am right now. Um, and he must have thought, what the hell is he doing running through the atrium of this building, screaming?
Yeah.
I don't think he could hear the drone, but it was a really weird day. Um, Such a strange place. But it's sad because last time I was here, there was bars, there was music, there was still some stuff happening. I think there was a performance hall where there were shows going on. None of that exists now. Everyone has left. Anyone that can leave has left. So yeah, it's crazy.
Well, I'm sorry. Look, we should keep in touch and let me know. Let me know how things go. Get back to civilization as soon as you can, um, and
Yeah, I
stay
will. Well, I'm
safe.
here to report for Byline. Yeah, well, I'm here
Hmm?
to report a few articles for Byline tomorrow, and then my own channel. Then I'll go. There's some like filthy Russian troll people in the comments anyway, so I'll leave them
Really?
to what
Have
is
you?
it says, yeah,
You can eat.
Slurpentius Corporation. Just these sort of like
I,
horrid type.
I think you're better than this. You're better at finding this stuff than I am. Um I don't I don't think I can find the. Oh, I
They
found it.
always say they always come to your
Stop.
channel. I don't know what it is. They
Yeah.
come
Well,
to
you know.
lots of my friends' channels now. They're yeah, it's crazy. But they yeah, it's people that don't
Um.
like anyone talking about what's going on here. You know, it's just sort of filthy people that have had their pockets lined with Russian money or their bots. But that's how it is.
Yeah. Oh dear. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Well, look. Be
No, it's fine.
safe.
It's fine. It's fine. This is the internet. This is how it works.
Ah. I find it terrifying, but Biden says we cannot look away, and I think Biden's right, isn't he? You know, and
Yeah.
you are,
Well, no, it's
and you were
true. I mean, this
there.
is why I wanted to come here and film this. Yeah, no, definitely.
Um,
Oh, so there we go. Well, I'm going to publish my report from today. I need to move locations every day. Um,
please keep
and
moving.
uh, yeah, and I don't want to publish the report I filmed today until I've left where I am now because my bank called me when I was trying to pay for something and they thought that I was in Russia. It's actually an indication that the 5G and 4G towers across the river are picking up my phone signals. So it means I don't want to be here. So I'm going to move and then publish the report. So I'll put it out tomorrow.
Good, please do. Right, and we will keep in touch. Um, I think you better call me tomorrow morning.
I will. I should be
Um,
okay. I'm going to take some sleeping pills and try and power through this noise because it's very noisy, very annoying.
yeah, make put your put your Put your body armor on for sleeping, please.
It's far too heavy for that. I could barely lift it here. It's like this is like, there's a plate in the front and the back, and this is like category 3 anti, I don't know, ballistic, whatever the
Right,
level is. It's
right.
really heavy. I would rather not. But yeah. And I don't
I
want to wear it outside as well. This is the dilemma. The press officers, the military want you to wear it, but it makes you more of a target. But then if you get hit, so it's a constant dilemma of whether to wear it or not. But I'll take it with me.
yeah. Hi, Caolan. I'm horrified.
Okay.
Look, be well, and God bless, and we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay. Speak to you tomorrow.
Sleep well.
Thanks. I will.